Hey everyone, welcome. How are you? So I am here today to discuss back pain. So let me know when you get here or when you watch on the replay what your back pain is and where you got it, okay? One thing I want to start off with is if you have any sharp back pain that doesn't seem like soreness or normal or something you're used to, always call your doctor, right? And if you are experiencing new back pain, call your doctor, okay? Ultimately, as a personal trainer, I work with clients once they've received clearance from their doctor if they have any particular injury or ailment. And so that's really important. So any of my advice is simply from my experience, not because I'm a medical professional or have been, in the medical field. So I always recommend ask your doctor. But I do want to tell you today the story of my back pain that I still suffer with here and there, but have mitigated a lot over the years, and how I got it and how I've managed it, because sometimes it's permanent injury that you will never completely be able to heal, but you can do things to help your back pain, okay? So I will tell you, I had never had back pain prior to 2008. My husband and I had just gotten married. I've always been very athletic, very strong, and he and I went out about 6 months after we were married. We went out house hunting. And we were in a condo that had, it was like a townhouse, not a townhouse, it was in a condo. And it had all these ladders with this loft space because the ceilings were very high. And so I said to my realtor, we want to have kids someday. I'm not sure this is the place for us. It seems kind of dangerous that there's ladders in every room. And he said, well, you can always use those lofts as storage space, right? So in the living room, there's a loft. It was extra living space. And one of the bedrooms, the loft was used for exercise space, which to me, I was like, oh, cool, exercise space. We should get this place. And so he encouraged me to go ahead up and take a look at the space. And so I'm up at the top, and my husband was scoping out one of the bedrooms, and the realtor is watching me from across the room, and I'm up at the top of this ladder about 12 feet high, and all of a sudden I feel this ladder start to slide. And I didn't have time to think, but the ladder fell, and I fell through the rungs and ended up just holding myself up through the rungs. My feet went through and I landed. Luckily, there was a table underneath the loft, so the ladder didn't fall flat to the floor. It actually caught on this table, in somebody else's home that we were looking at. And I landed on my feet, and one of my shoes broke and the heel broke, and I was fine. The other leg, my leg was the thing that broke. So my calf tore, and my back, my spine compressed. And so it was like my whole spine compressed when I hit the ground. I damaged my L5-S1 disc. So that when I went, not only after, because I was in a cast for, months, and then I had physical therapy for my leg because I couldn't walk after that. I had some imbalances after that. And so I went in for MRIs and x-rays on my back, and they found that disc was desiccated, which means dried up. So it was kind of like I had like an 80-year-old spine at that point with no fluid, no, disc fluid in between my bones of my spine. And so this disc was just dried out. So it was kind of like bone on nerve, which would constantly hurt me. And so this was something that I then had to learn how to manage and live with. And I did so for 6 years before I saw any improvement. I tried everything from massage therapy, laser therapy, PT, right? Physical therapy. I did nerve shot blocks. So they're called facet shot blocks, where they actually shoot, the medication to numb you into your spine. And that did not help. Nothing helped. I was not really wanting to do pain management pills because I didn't want to, I saw 90210 where Tori got addicted to the pills. So I didn't want that. And Jesse Spano, I learned from childhood TV. And so I didn't want to start with medication. And I really also felt that going to all these doctor appointments and the physical therapy, like I would leave work in New York City and I would run 10 blocks down to my physical therapy to try to get an hour of physical therapy before running back and trying to shove lunch down. And it caused a lot of stress. And so I never felt better. And so that was really hard for me. It hurt to sit too long. So in conferences, we had day-long meetings when I was a VP of finance and accounting, and I ran the budget process for a multi-billion dollar budget in New York City for a commercial real estate company. And I couldn't sit in these meetings. I would constantly get up and walk around, and people are like, "Where's she going?" And I couldn't even go to a bar with my husband and stand up, like stand on my feet for very long. And it was just debilitating. We would go to a hotel and the bed would kill my back. I struggled in movies and performances and all these things. And the quality of life was just hard, and it made me angry, right? Angry that this happened, but also the pain just was constant discomfort. On top of that, I gained weight because I couldn't exercise like I had been, and I was eating out of emotion, right? And so none of this made anything better for me. It wasn't until my fitness journey started that I started to see the changes, that I started to follow trainers and programs that included certain things. So I want to talk about the 5 things that have really helped me. And if you have anything that has helped you, anything that seems to make your back pain worse, like let's open up the dialogue and I'll talk with you here. I'd love to know what's been helping you. I'm sure others would like that too. What makes it worse? And if something sounds like a good idea, let me know that you're going to try it, right? So I can check in on you. So the number one thing was that I had gained a lot of weight after I started, feeling this depression and stopped working out like I always had. And so what I found, number one, was I started with nutrition. And what had happened was my whole journey where I finally made that decision, it's like I know the day, the clear-cut day when I said, okay, this is it. I need to change my life. I wanted to do fitness and nutrition, but I had hurt my chest. And this I remember too. It was the week between like Christmas and New Year's where nobody does anything at work. And so I went to the gym and there was no classes because they were all canceled. And I was like, oh, why don't I just work out like I did in college? And I put a bunch of weight on a weight bench and I'm doing bench presses. And I think I aggravated my chest wall doing those. I then, because we were out of work for, several days between Christmas and New Year's, I decided to join a yoga studio for a 10-day pass with one of my friends. And we went every day to like get our money's worth. And I was doing like down dogs and chaturangas and up dogs for like the week. And I aggravated that chest wall even more. So here at the new year, right, I'm like ready to go. And my program's starting and my chest hurts so bad. And then, like I did every year back then, I got freaking bronchitis because of all the sick people who come around at the holidays between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. I used to always get sick. And so here I got bronchitis on top of my chest being hurt. I literally couldn't do anything. I couldn't even pretend to like get on a spin bike and do a little bit of work because as soon as I started to breathe heavy, my chest would hurt, I would start coughing, and everything would hurt even more. And so I really had to start only with nutrition. I went to a doctor and he said, you have to stop working out, like none of it. And so for 3 weeks, I focused only on nutrition and I lost like 10 pounds. And already, even without working out, I was feeling so much lighter. And then another 3 weeks went by and I lost another 5 pounds. So I'm down 15 pounds and I could feel the change. My demeanor changed, my posture changed. I felt more confident, but really a lot of the extra weight that I was carrying in my body was lifted. And so that's my number one tip. My first tip is to take off any excess weight that you're putting on your joints, that you're carrying around, right? Have you ever seen The Biggest Loser, where they, midway through the season, they give them a backpack that's all the weight that they've lost during the season, and they have to like go run a race with it on their back, and it weighs you down, right? And it's painful to carry around all that weight. Well, that is the first step to helping yourself, is taking off the excess weight. And so that could be, starting clean eating. I don't know if you should know by now that starting on Monday, I have many people doing the 5-day kickstart cleanse that I am doing this week with my husband. One of my clients, my one-on-one coaching clients, Regina, has lost 7 pounds in the first 3 days. I've lost 5. My husband's lost 3. It's a great way to just kick it off, right? This kickstart. Let's get going. It's time, and take a bunch of that excess weight off, and it'll give you that momentum to get going. So that could be one solution. And then we work together on a long-term solution that is balanced, that helps you understand what your foods are doing for you, your fats, your proteins, your carbohydrates, why you need them, and how they help you. Because once you understand and have that better learning and that understanding, you're more apt to make the better decisions for your body, right? So start taking off that excess weight. If you need help, you give me a shout. If you want, there's a blank menu planner or tracker in the guide section of our group. All you have to do is fill it out for a week. And then on my website, under call bookings or whatever bookings, you can sign up for a 15-minute call with me, where I will literally go over your week and we can see what you can tweak to start, right? Totally free. So that's a good way to start. Number 2, what I found when I started working out was that my coaches were giving me stretching and mobility work, and that was big too. And that even more so now I understand the value of, and as I've aged over the last 6 years, my husband and I both spend a lot of time on mobility, stretching. I just today made a shoulder health video for one of my clients who has a Spartan race coming up and also has a shoulder issue. And so I want to make sure that she's taking care of her shoulders, mobility, stabilization, range of motion, and activation, right? And so it's really important, the same thing with your back, that we have the mobility to move, right? If you find that it hurts to turn, then we need to work on that. We need to work on the bending down. Can you reach your feet, right? When you bend down and try to touch your toes, go ahead and try that now. Can you reach? Because if you can't reach your toes, then something is wrong mechanically. And when something is wrong in your body, it's a chain reaction. They call it the kinetic chain. And it's like you have one thing wrong and it hits each part of your body and it goes all the way up. So we need to figure out where in your body do you have these points that are tight, that have issue or are kind of like malfunctioning, right? Imbalances. And we need to start working on those. So for instance, I'll tell you that when my back hurts, it's not a problem with my back generally. It's generally a problem with my quads or my glutes being tight. So either I've done something to aggravate them. For instance, I signed our family up for a 5K tomorrow and I don't run and the kids don't run and my husband runs. So I went on a run with my husband and he's like, all right, we're going to go run 4 miles, and freaking banged out 4 miles. Well, I haven't done that in a really long ever. And so when I got back the next day, I was like, oh my God, my quads are so tight. And then I started to feel the back pain. And so what do I need to work on? I don't need to work on my back. I need to work on my quads. And so I have 3 ways that I work on my quads. And I know I've gone over this in this group before. Number 1, I have a Theragun, which is like an electronic massager. So it has a little ball at the end. It looks like a little gun. And it basically hits your muscle over and over and over again, like really fast. And it just breaks up the tenseness and what's going on. And basically what's happening when muscles are spasming like that, when they get tight, is that your muscle fibers, you've got all these little fibers, and when we're weightlifting, we're tearing them and then we're strengthening them. When they start to spaz out because of something that we've done to overuse the muscles, they attach to one another. So think of like this big rope or spaghetti or something hanging down, and it's all individual strings, but when they freak out, they all like grab onto one another. It's kind of like Red Rover. Like when you hold on like tight, you're stronger together, and the closer you are, the stronger you are than if you're reached out. And so they come together and they hold tight to protect, right? And so what you need to do is you need to break that up and help them relax, right? Because that tightness is then causing tightness in your back, and it's causing tightness everywhere. And then you're going to feel it all the way up to your neck, because everything starts to tighten up in this kinetic chain. And so it's really important that we start working on methods that are going to help to loosen up those muscles. So number one is to just get it to, hey, wake up. We're going to start loosening up now, right? So the Theragun for me is number one. If you don't have something like that, a massage gun or a Theragun, then foam rolling is my first thing for you. And I would say do it every morning and every night. And I know that's hard, but to make it part of your routine can be huge. If you're dealing with back pain, is it worth it to take 10 minutes in the morning and at night to do this routine? If you're dealing with shoulder pain, I know it's not fun to ice, and it's not fun to do a 10-minute routine every day. It's easier not to do it, but is it worth the pain, right? And so foam rolling is also called self-myofascial release. And so you're getting this fascia to release and get rid of the knots, right? The little tight spots. And so I've done a video on foam rolling, and I can give you that whole video. And for my clients, I do include a lot of foam rolling, but it's finding the spots, rolling over a foam roller until you find what are these spots, and they generally are sore. And so you just sit on them, and you sit on them for 30 seconds, long enough for them to start to release that tension, right? And so quads, calves, glutes, right? These are all major parts, and even going up your body too, because perhaps you're starting from the top down. So if your lats are tight, right, then your obliques get tight, and then your psoas gets tight, and then your glutes get tight, and your back just tightens up too, and you feel the pain, right? And so working out the whole body, but also knowing your body. When my quads are tight, my back gets tight. When my glutes are tight, my back gets tight. My hamstrings don't generally get tight. So learn your body. And then once you've foam rolled, it's stretching, right? So creating that long, lengthened muscle, again, keeping it stretched out, especially if you're somebody who does weightlifting, right? I've said this before, when you weightlift, check out my muscle. When you lift, it contracts. It goes from this long muscle to this short muscle, right? And so then at the end of your weightlifting, you don't want to leave it here, right? That's these bulky men. You don't want that. You got to stretch it back out, right? Lengthen, stretch, right? And so that is going to help you not be this little ball of tension, okay? So that's number two. So number one was take off the excess weight with nutrition. Number two, and it's not extra cardio, it's nutrition, okay? Number two is work out the kinks with stretching, foam rolling, Theragun, something like that. Also, warm bath at night. That'll relax your muscles before bed, right? Or even a shower. Jacuzzi if you're fancy. Number three, weightlifting. This was the biggest change in my life. After 6 years of back pain, I started a weightlifting routine, which I hadn't done since I graduated college in 2004. And weightlifting changed my life. And it changed my life to the point where I changed my career. Went from VP of Finance and Accounting to personal trainer and health coach. And what I loved about what the weight training did was it helped the imbalances, right? So you know that when we work our chest, we also have to work our back. When we work our bicep, we work our tricep. When we work our quads, we work our hamstrings, because we have to be in balance in the posterior and the anterior side of our body. Otherwise, if one muscle gets too strong, right? If we always work our chest, the chest gets strong, the back is weak, then the shoulders start to round, and then you start to have issues, right? And so you need to keep this balance. So building up strength in your core, which has been my MO in life since my back injury, building up the strength in the core it helps to support that weakness in the back, right? So if you have a strong core, you can sit up taller, you can stand up taller, and those discs and the spine elongates, and you no longer have those two bones in the spine that were on top of each other rubbing the nerves, and instead you have this more space, traction, right? So more fluid can get in, and so that helps a lot. So building core strength. But on top of that, every day we use our back, right? You bend down, you pick something up, you pick up a kid, you pick up, I don't know, groceries, right? You're doing that with your back unless you've built the strength in your arms, in your upper back, in your legs to help your body and not just use that. So I would never, if I'm bending over, I squat down, right? And I use my legs and my arms to lift up. I don't bend over with straight legs, to grab something, because it's creating that imbalance and it's putting a lot of pressure on the back. So weightlifting to create strength for support, absolutely huge in getting rid of most of my back pain. Now, unless I do something like sleep in a bed that's too hard at a hotel, run 4 miles when I haven't run in ever, things like that, I do still get flare-ups. Or if I do the wrong fitness program, I was doing a 40-day program that somebody created, a friend of mine, and I knew at the end that I wouldn't be repeating it because it just didn't feel good for my back, right? So there's been times where I've stopped fitness programs because I knew it just wasn't for me. But when you do have these flare-ups, Motrin, something like that, which I don't generally tend to take. I'm not like, if I have a headache, I drink more water. I don't generally take like aspirin or whatever, but Motrin will help because what it does is it will take down the inflammation. And sometimes, and you might need a stronger, NSAID, anti-inflammatory. You might need something stronger prescribed. And the point of that is to bring down the inflammation enough that it can heal itself, right? And so the only thing with that is sometimes if they're strong, they can bother your stomach. So you need to know when it's starting to be at the point where it's bothering you, along with ice and heat. So the idea of ice and heat is that, and some people like to sit on the heating pad because it feels good forever. But really what you want to do is rotate, flip-flop between the ice and heat. What heat does is you always start with heat. And this is like what an athlete does. When I used to play softball, right? In college, we would heat our arm before we played. And then after the game, we would ice. And so it's the same idea. When you're heating, the heat brings that blood flow to the area, right? And it's very healing. But then it also creates inflammation. And so what you need to do afterwards is you need to ice, and that draws that blood away. And then it's able to heal, right? And not be aggravated all the time. So if you're trying to cure your back pain with constant heat, you're actually could be adding to the aggravation, even if you're feeling, that it soothes in the moment. So whenever you're heating, 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off is a good rule of thumb. Heat and ice and some Motrin to bring down that inflammation. And then, so that was 4 things. So let's review. Take off the excess weight, work out the kinks with foam rolling and stretching, lift weight to create strength and support, Motrin, heat, and ice for flare-ups. And then the last one is blood flow, cardio, and yoga. And the reason why I'm telling you this is that if I've had like a week where I'm really, really tense, and I know that my guess is after I do this 5K tomorrow on Sunday, I might actually need a very high intensity cardio workout. My husband and I are going to be investing in a mix bike. It's a spin bike. And if you want to be part of my mix team, I'll be getting matching gear for anybody else who's really interested in getting a mix bike with me. They're going on sale, brand new version on September 21st. So I'm going to be one of the first ones. And if you want to be on my mix team and spin with me, let me know and I'll get you set up. I will get you some team wear. But this high intensity cardio for me, I've found to be extremely helpful. It gets my body so hot, it gets my blood pumping everywhere, and it tends to help me feel that healing. And that has worked for me. Might not work for everybody, but it's worked for me. Same thing with yoga, getting that nice stretch, right? But also relaxing, right? Stress in the body creates like that pain. And so stress leads to tension, right? If you ever felt really stressed, then you might be like, just tensing up everywhere. Even like when I get stressed, my jaw and my cheekbones start to feel it. And so relaxing with some flow yoga, meditation, something to relax your body, your nervous system, that can help too. Because I know that when I was the most tense, especially when I told you I was trying to get to these physical therapy appointments, it was almost like the stress of getting there and not getting in trouble and taking too long a lunch period. It added so much stress that it became like less beneficial. The physical therapy wasn't even beneficial to me because it was creating so much stress, right? And so having something like cardio to get that blood flow, or yoga to get that blood flow, plus calm yourself, is also a really great technique. So let me know your feedback. Was this helpful? Pop some hearts in here if it was. Tell me about your back pain. Where has it come from? How long have you had it? What's helped? What doesn't seem to help? And if you want to have a chat with me, my God, obviously I'm happy to talk about it and help you and get you started on a plan and hold you accountable to it. I know that the accountability is the hardest thing always. So that's it for now. Adios, friends. I hope you're feeling well and have a fantastic weekend. Take care.